Hey, it's me, Swear. Thank you for stepping back into my corner for another video. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but if you go back and you look at all my videos, there's been a trend on this channel where the color of my shirt works in twos. So I think it was 2 videos ago, I was wearing blue for both videos. And then there was a time where I was doing gray for both videos. And then there was a green for 2 videos. And this last video that I did last time is in black. And so I thought I'd continue the trend going and wear a different black top. I don't know how this coincidentally happened, but I mean, I realized it the other day and I thought, you know what? Might as well keep on with tradition and follow along in in a black shirt. Let's have some fun in this video, shall we? I struggled with making this video because I've had a lot to say about it for a long time, and I didn't know how to necessarily go about it in the best way that will make me happy and do the video justice, right? But I thought, there's no time like the present. We're all gonna die someday, so I thought I might as well just stop delaying the process and just make the video now and let it be. So we are here today to talk about the movie Life of Pi. I should also say there will be spoilers for the movie Life of Pi and also the book Life of Pi. You have been warned. Now, I've had several encounters with this movie over the course of my short 19 years on this planet. My very first experience with this movie was actually when I was in the hospital. I don't remember why I was there. I think it was when I had tonsillitis, like a very bad case of tonsillitis or something. But anyways, I was there, lying in the hospital, ill, not feeling great, loopy and that kind of thing. And there was this movie on the TV, and I only saw the last chunk of the movie, from about where the big storm takes place towards the third act. And then I saw that part of the movie and I was like, you know what? That seems interesting. And so when I got out of hospital and I went home, I went out and I rented the movie on DVD. Yeah, I remember I enjoyed the movie a lot when I first watched it, and then I completely forgot about it and it was excommunicated from my memory. That's a massive word. Okay, I didn't know we were down like that with the English language, but and so I excommunicated it from my memory, and I hope I've used that word correctly. I'm not entirely sure, but fingers crossed. But yeah, I excommunicated the movie from my memory, and then in matric, we studied the book, Life of Pi, again. And then I rewatched the movie again, and both experiences left me feeling enlightened. The main reason why I wanted to make a video about this is because I remember in school when we had studied this book in grade 12 and we were discussing it and what it meant and all the symbolism and that kind of stuff, and I felt like all of my friends and colleagues, they were missing the point, of the whole book and also the movie as a whole. And I was like, guys, can't you see what I'm seeing? And evidently no, they could not. And so I just thought I had to walk around with this feeling of no one really understood the point of it, or at least how I interpreted the story. So I thought one day I'll make a video about it, and here I am 2 years down the line. Better late than never, right? So when I talk about the book and the movie, I'm not going to talk about them separately. I'm going to talk about them synonymously because the adaptation of the book to the movie is very almost one for one. They're very similar, if not exactly the same. There isn't too many big changes that the movie makes or deviations from the story. So when I talk about one or the other, just know I'm talking about both as a whole. Life of Pi is a movie and a book that is dedicated to telling the better story. The whole book surrounds this idea that in life we deal in absolutes. And you can see this in the story of Life of Pi because it balances this idea between science versus religion. We live in a world where it's either one or the other and there's no space for fluidity. And that's what Life of Pi is. It's dedicated to asking us as absolutists what is the better story. It challenges our own ideologies. Because on both sides of the argument, for example, to scientists, some religious ideas are often absurd or considered impossible. And on the other side of the spectrum, to religious people, science is devoid of faith. And that's what Life of Pi is. It's questioning the idea of whether or not we can live in a gray area and what that gray area looks like. And to me, in my mind, Life of Pi finds a gray area by asking, what is the better story? what do you believe? Because in the human condition, I suppose belief is everything. And is there a space where you can believe in two opposing things at the same time? The director of the movie and the writer of the book, they question and explore this notion through the character of Pi, who is such a multifaceted character. On one hand, he belongs to, I think it's three different religions. I think it's Islam, Christianity, and Hinduism. And on the other hand, he's quite a realist in the sense where he believes in the teachings of science. And then most people would say that you can't do both. In fact, in the story, in the book, he's approached by all these different people who have taught him these different religious things and scientific things. And they all argue saying, Pi, you're going to have to choose one thing because in life you can't be everything. You're not allowed to be that fluid. Even his own family, like his father questions whether or not his religious antics are a phase, because his father believes in science, whereas his mother believes in faith and religion. And so his whole life is people telling him and demanding him to live a life of absolutism and 100% down one path or the other. And the character of Pi is just far too fluid to exist in these singular bubbles, which to me is incredibly fascinating to witness and explore, because I think for me, in my own experience, I am very similar to Pi. I definitely have an internal debate going on. I go back and forth between scientific ideologies and religious ideologies, and I can't pigeonhole myself. I suppose after watching Life of Pi, I started questioning what is the better story. And in some contexts and in some instances, one story is better than the other. And that's, I suppose, how Pi chooses to move in the world, appealing to one idea in one scenario and then other ideas in different scenarios, because it's difficult to live life pigeonholing yourself into one specific lane, because you're always going to encounter different things. So it's important to be able to spread yourself in a broad manner so that you can deal with different situations from different angles when they hit you. And so this idea ties into the climax of the movie and the book, where Pi has gone on this long journey at sea, and he's experienced so much trauma with Richard Parker, the tiger, and all the other animals, and he's come to the end of it. And he tells two different stories. He tells the story that we've witnessed, which involves all the animals and Richard Parker and that incredible journey. And then he tells the second story, a story that has no animals, a story that revolves around people. And those two stories form the debate between science versus religion. The religious story follows Pi on the life raft with the animals, whereas the scientific story follows Pi with people on the life raft, and stuff unfolds in that context. And so he challenges the people who are interviewing him at the end of the movie, which story do you believe? And in real time, he challenges the author who is interviewing him, which story do you believe? And on another level, the story is challenging us as viewers and readers. Which story do you believe? What is the better story? In my mind, that is the more fundamental question that we should be asking, not necessarily what is the truth. Because in this context between religion and science, for instance, it's almost impossible to know the absolute truth. And because it's not possible to know the absolute answer, the question then becomes, what is the better story? Which speaks to you more? Which story does more for you on a personal level? And when I was having this debate with my friends in high school, everyone was either for one idea or against the other idea, and they were saying that this one is 100% correct and this is why, or that one is 100% correct and this is why. And they weren't necessarily understanding, at least from my perspective, that in relation to what is the correct answer, it is entirely subjective. There is no correct answer. There's no way to know the absolute correct answer. And that's why the question of which is the better story comes into play. Because that kind of question ties into what do you believe fundamentally as a human being? And it made me upset in these conversations with my friends, because it was like they were trying to convince me of this absolute idea for either side. And my whole point was, guys, that this story isn't dealing with absolutes, because it's impossible to know the absolute truth. And in life, when you don't know, I suppose, the absolute truth of something, and you won't be able to figure it out, the narrative then shifts to what appeals to you more. And that's where all the different subjective answers come from. And that's what makes this experience very engaging. Because one person will watch the movie and they'll think the story of Pi with the tiger on the life raft is way too far-fetched. And then at the end of the story, when Pi tells you a different but exact replica of the same story, you think, oh, that's probably what happened. That sounds more believable. Or it can happen the other way around, right? A person could watch the movie with Pi on the life raft with the tiger and all the animals, and they'll think, this makes sense. I understand this. This speaks to me. And then they get to the end and they hear the real story of what happened on the life raft, and that doesn't speak to them. I suppose to wrap up and summarize everything that I'm trying to say, it's that in life sometimes there are no absolutes. There is no one singular truth. The question of importance becomes what appeals to you? What is the better story? Damn. That felt good. I've been holding that in for like 2 years. So it's been very good to get that out and just say my piece. Thank you for tuning in. I told you I'd be uploading more regularly. Hopefully you believe me now. I've got to go and study for my exam now, so I'm gonna regretfully head out and do that. Thank you. It's been your boy Sway. I truly appreciate you stepping into my corner, and I shall see you in the next video.